Well, hello and welcome to the World of Zwift, the show that covers everything from the heart of Watopia's volcano to the summit of Von Top and everywhere in between. So let's see what we've got for you this week. Nathan Guerra takes us on a deep dive into the latest Zwift Classic. Wes Salmon answers my burning questions over on Inside Line. We hear from Zwift's very own Rahsaan Bahati about his incredible challenge that is Race Across America. Expert cycling coach Shayne Gaffney talks us through what we can expect from the latest workout of the week. There's more A-Zwift, plus the return of everyone's favourite ride fuel themed game show in the feed zone. But this is the point of the show where I ask you to hit like and subscribe to the World of Zwift, and while you do that, I'm going to work on one of my lockdown hobbies, and that is teleportation. Something I tried to learn along with baking sourdough bread and learning a Rubik's Cube. So, if you don't mind, I'll center myself and here we go. I did it! Oh my God, I've done it without my clothes again. Oh my God. The Zwifting fun doesn't end with this show, so let's see what's going on this week throughout the Zwiftiverse. The Specialized Roval Climbing Challenge, well, it starts on July the 20th. For 11 days, you can make use of a top-of-the-range Specialized Athos bike and Roval Alpinist CLX wheels, and where better to test out this super light setup than on 4 of Zwift's most iconic climbs. Complete any event to unlock the Specialized SL Airfare kit, and even if you don't set a PB, well, you'll be entered into a prize draw where you can win a set of Roval Alpinist wheels. We are under starters orders for Season 2 of the Zwift Running League. The first race, get ready for it, June 23rd, so make sure you sign up while you still can. The season will run for 6 weeks with a mixture of points and relay races. With self-selected pace categories, there will be races for all abilities, so head to WTRL to register your team. This one's for you, Steve Worcester, who commented on last week's show asking if we could mention the bike MS ride on Sunday, July 25th, where you can unlock the rather fetching bike MS jersey. Make sure you head to the Zwift Companion app for more details on that and a host of other worthwhile events that you can get involved in. The Zwift Classic series is underway with the first of 8 solo races around iconic Zwift routes in the books. There's a race for individuals every Tuesday with the Apple Lap on July 20th and Crit City Slam, which I love, on July 27th. Then each week we will have our very own race tactician, yes it is Nathan Guerra, and he'll help steer you through each course right here on the World of Zwift. Check out the links below for details on how to sign up for the Zwift Classics and any of the events mentioned during the show. Now, recently, we checked in on Zwift's very own Rahsaan Bahati as he prepared for one of the biggest challenges of his life, the 3,000-mile race across America. After training on Zwift for an attempt at winning the race, Rahsaan took to the start line on the Californian coast as part of a 4-person team, with the aim of hitting the Atlantic in 6 days. You heard me right, 6 days. We sent a crew to follow the team as they cycled 24 hours a day across the changing landscape of the USA. Deserts, forests, mountains, and plains.
Race Across America is literally a race across America. I don't think not one team just rides across America.
American cyclists, I'm going to see you guys on out of here. Good luck, fellas.
We wanted to win. You know, I think for me, we train to win, not just to finish.
To even think about racing your bike from Oceanside, California to Annapolis, Maryland, in itself is, I think it's kind of mind-boggling. Let's go, give him a push, give him a push.
You could do all the research in the world, and all that will tell you is historically what has happened.
Not knowing exactly what you're gonna face through heat. You know, we dropped into Borrego Springs, it was 111 degrees. You're getting closer to Arizona, it's 124 degrees. You can't plan for that stuff. There's really nothing you can do.
We struggled. We reached a point, I reached a point where I wanted to go home.
It's really hot, man. This is the hottest we've been riding yet, okay?
Yep. My body went downhill really, really fast.
Oh my God. Okay, okay. Alex? Hey, he's out. Alex? Alex?
The pain was so excruciating that I blacked out. I passed out for a good 10 minutes. It was bad. It was really bad. We were 24 hours into this race and there's no way like I was gonna tap out.
Safety is number one, I mean, for anyone. It makes no sense to try to do this race and you harm yourself.
Having to go through that early in the race, it takes a lot out of you. It really kind of put things in reality of what RAM is all about.
Understanding how like your team needs to get people up the road, they need to feed people, they need to keep them hydrated, they need to keep the muscles loose. It's a lot harder than just riding a bicycle.
Way to go, Alex. We were doing well, then we punch in for a 6-hour shift and we just totally get our asses kicked, drag ourselves back to the RV, try to get some sleep, try to get some food, try to get some liquid. The whole time I'm like, we got to get up and like make something of tomorrow because today we just got beat up.
I got on my bicycle and I did what I do best. I pedaled as hard as I could for the next 2,500 miles.
And my pedigree is not hill climbing. You know, I like speed, I like the flats. When you're on a team of 4, no matter what part of the country you're in, the total race is almost close to 200,000 feet of elevation. So somebody's gonna climb. It's challenging, and these hills are long, they're steep. You're talking like 8, 9, 10% at times. And then oftentimes when I was doing RAM and the hills were long, I would think back to Zwift and how I would ride. And I would literally put it in a big gear, like lock in and just stand up. And I try my best to do that. You get caught up in riding Zwift so much, you actually think you're an avatar, you know, in the real world. It feels so real. Getting on your bike at 2 a.m. was probably one of the toughest things to do in riding for 6 hours. So you're talking like 2 to 7, 2 to 8 time frame. Your mind is just, and your body's not in the right place. So that was tough for me.
Nicely done. Oh, it's fun out there.
In the middle of the night, it's cold, you're in the Rockies, you're sweating like crazy, you get in the van, you're steaming, you're steaming, you're steaming, you're shivering, now you're freezing cold, and they're like, get out the door. Go, go, go. I need 500 watts out the gate, you gotta go, you gotta go. It's not easy to produce that kind of number for 6 straight days.
I take a step back and realize, well, while we're doing this, and you can't quit, you can't give up. I had to tell myself it's all about the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is getting across the country safely and continue to raise awareness and give back for the families that we're riding for.
I knew things were going to get a little competitive as we rolled into the last, couple hundred miles, but I didn't realize that it was going to get as competitive as what it did.
Now he's on
right in front of you. So the last 110 miles of the race, we're chasing this team.
There are right
Oh, really?
there.
All right, let's catch him.
You see someone ahead of you, a competitor, and even if they're in your class or not, you want to race them.
We went all in, all tilt. It was the most amazing thing we've ever done.
Go, baby!
We're racing, and it is game on.
We're on, let's go, baby, let's go! It gave us an opportunity, all 4 riders, to be in one van and enjoy the last 120 miles together. You're doing all this effort, and then you cross this line in the middle of the road, that's a restaurant in a parking lot, and then it's over.
That was badass.
I was trying to catch you.
It's been the best experience ever. I have never pushed myself so hard. I've never been so proud of my legs, and I'm happy.
It was hard to get through, but you know, here we are. We finished in first. We hit our goals, and that's RAM. That's what RAM is all about.
Time for the inside line now on the World of Zwift, and look who joins us. It's the lead game designer, Wes Salmon. Wes, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, OJ. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you very much. I'm excited to talk Macquarie Islands because there's a big old update coming, isn't there?
Yes, there is. We have an update that's going to add a few new routes to Macquarie Islands. One of them being a reverse route of a favorite, Kappa Quest. So Kappa Quest Reverse will take you up the backside of the Temple KOM. It's about a 9K loop, but it has about a 5K lead-in. So all told, to finish this route will be about 15K. The second route we've done is Suki's Playground, which is more of a flatland loop. It is about 18 kilometers, really staying away from the KOMs. It does a figure eight through the farmland as well as through the villages. Both of these routes come with the most important piece, which is a new badge. So you can earn 2 new badges with these routes.
They sound like 2 amazing new routes, Wes, but I just want to focus on one of them, which is Suki's Playground, because the story behind it, the reason it's called Suki's Playground, there is a really quite emotional reason behind it.
There really is. So while we were building Macquarie Islands, one of the senior game designers, Richard Ye, his dog passed away in the process. So we've named this route after Suki, his dog, to kind of commemorate the time he spent building out Macquarie Islands, but also in memory of his dog.
What I think is a wonderful reason. So Suki lives on. The legacy is still there whenever you ride that route. I just want to ask you what it's like creating these new worlds, because obviously a whole new world on Zwift is a big old deal. The art department, they does their work, they come up with the look of it and how it's going to feel. What's it like for you being part of that when then you have to start trying to make it something that's fun for everybody to be part of?
Well, Macquarie Islands was actually a really fun project, mainly because it allowed us to build something from scratch. So if you look at the previous worlds we've built in Zwift, the majority of them are based on real world locations or real world events. So there's a lot of structure already built into the narrative for the world. With Macquarie Islands, we were kind of wide open to build whatever we really wanted to. We were inspired by real world locations, but we were not bound by a particular type of road, a particular map. So the art team and the game design team could really kind of stretch their legs a little bit and build some things that we couldn't otherwise build in real world worlds that are supposed to mimic real world events. So that's always really fun, because now you've got to look at things like the lanterns that we build at night to allow you to really kind of understand when in Zwift you go from night to day, you get all these different effects. And we couldn't do that in any other world because we would be bound by do the lights exist in that world. But with Macquarie Islands, we can build it from scratch, and it's really fun.
And that's the first time really since the original Watopia map.
It really is. We took a little bit of liberties with New York by moving it 100 years in the future so we could build out some of the flying cars and some of the elevated platforms, but it's still based in Central Park. But yes, this is definitely the first time we've built really fresh roads in an area that is uniquely Zwift.
So how exciting is that for you then, knowing that you can do, not whatever you want, but but the bounds, the horizons are stretched so much?
It's really fun, but there's also the expectation from the Zwifters for us to build really cool stuff in general. So there's a little bit of pressure there, but it's pressure we enjoy because it allows us to really flex our creativity and kind of expand what we can have Zwift be for our users.
Wes, as always, it's a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time, buddy.
No problem. Thanks, OJ.
Backed by popular demand, thank you, Mum, it's the #1 and potentially only ride fuel themed game show. Welcome to What the Gel. For those unfamiliar with the format, the World of Zwift team give me 3 carefully chosen gels and I have to guess the flavour and then rate how much I like them. So let's see what they found at the bottom of the drawer this week. I'm not actually joking when I say that. They literally found them in the bottom of a drawer. Yummy. All right, let's go with gel #1, which, here we go. Oh, God, they're always so sweet. Always so sweet. So, I'll tell you what that's got. That's got almost a burnt taste on the end. And it was slightly citrusy. I'm gonna say that's like a crumble. Like a apple crumble. Apple crumble. Emily? Correct! Okay, let's go for gel #2. Gel #2, ready to be consumed. Ugh. I mean, obviously it's sweet because it's a gel and they're all like being dunked in syrup, but not as sweet. That was, I'm gonna say, this is a setup. Even though they were found in the bottom of a drawer, I'm gonna say that was a crumble again. Rhubarb crumble. Rhubarb crumble. What? Oh, okay. Not terrible. That's my favorite one so far. Okay, time for gel number 3. Focus plug. Oh my God, it's so sweet. Oh my God. Right, there's definitely toffee in that one. There's definitely a toffee vibe. Toffee. I was gonna say Toffee Crisp, but that's a brand, so I don't think it would be that. I'm gonna say toffee. It's a toffee flavored. Emily? Banoffee. Ah, toffee with added primate. Yes, it was me behind the mask all along. Who knew? Let me rate these for you. Our bottom of the drawer gels. Third place, Banoffee. Tasty, yes, possibly the tastiest, but just far too sweet. Second place, Apple Crumble, has to be. I am British. And in first place, because it's not as sweet and vaguely tasty, it is the black cherry yogurt. That is what I would go with. Now, beg my pardon, sorry. As you know, the beauty of an indoor workout on Zwift is you aren't restricted to filling yourself with gels. You don't need something in a pack. So if you have a unique snack mid-ride, let us know in the comment section and I may well sample it in a future show.
S is for steering, a great way to make Zwifting even more immersive. Right now, there are 2 ways to get it. The top-of-the-range Wahoo Kicker Bike, or the $125 Elite Sturzo Smart Steering Block. Setup is easy. Just pair the device in your parent screen, choose a ride, and you'll be able to control steering of your avatar, and not just their pace. There are a lot of benefits to being able to steer, but the one I love is being able to carry more speed through the corners by choosing your line. It's also a great way to shake off those Zwifters who just sit on your wheel without ever taking a pull. With steering, there is no more riding through Zwifters ahead of you though. You have to ride around them instead. There are even steering-specific races. So, if being in total control is your thing, take it from me, steering is the next level.
The racing action continues this week with the Zwift Classics series. So who better than ex-pro cyclist of Zwift Community Live's Nathan Guerra to take us on a magical history tour around this week's course.
Today we're talking Zwift Classics race number 2, the Apple Lap. We are out on the Everything Bagel for 1 lap. The tactic today is all about survival in the peloton. Getting away on this course is nearly impossible due to the nature of the climbs and their placement, their length, and their gradient. Now, that doesn't mean we're not looking for a breakaway. That just means there are very specific times much later on this course that you might want to be looking for a breakaway. There's just not enough time between the climbs to really establish enough space that usually between yourself and the main pack that will be beneficial. Now for course moments, obviously the start is going to be the first one you take on, and it is going to be fast and furious with the Zwift Classics being a hyped up event, probably a lot of attendance. Make sure to jump into the event early to get closer to the front of the start line. If you actually are up in the back, make sure you give a little bit of extra orange numbers to get toward the front pretty quickly, just to make sure that any initial splits you are not a part of, because it is a downhill immediately right-hand turn, and it's going to be a flying avalanche heading directly toward the climbing glass roads within the first couple of kilometers. And this side of the reverse KOM that you will be taking on first comes at you almost immediately after you start hitting the glass roads. The first major feature is obviously going to be the reverse KOM, and it comes at you very quickly. So set yourself up well from that start, and then be in the right place to be a part of the peloton coming over the top. Each side of this KOM is a 2-tier. On this side, it's going to be a little bit more of a kick in the teeth because it's a start, climb the glass roads, hit the KOM, do the first slopes that are very steep, and then the second slopes that are up into 15% gradients or so after it flattens out for a second or two in the middle, you're trying to hold on to the wheels through there. Use as much draft as you possibly can. If you are trying to be the aggressor, don't get so aggressive that you really try and break away. Just get aggressive enough that it whittles down the pack. You could make a little kick off the front, but it isn't really about getting away. It's about making others chase you in a manner that brings a whittled down peloton across to you. On the other side of this climb, make sure you're getting up to 57 kilometers as quickly as you possibly can. Get into that super tuck and then start rotating super tucks with some of the other riders that you're with if there's a larger chase group behind. Now again, after descending from the KOM, use that descent the same way you would on the other side, 57 kilometers per hour as quickly as you possibly can, and get right into the pack. On this side though, you're doing what you did on the other side, but downhill. It comes very quickly back down into Central Park. The sprint comes up almost immediately on this side of the course. So be on the watch out for the forward sprint. This time though, we are going slightly uphill. This one can be a little bit more drawn out. You can lead this one out a little bit more actually, and it will have a little bump at the end of a 1 to 3% gradient or so across the line. Every single watt to that line will matter because of that 1 to 3% gradient. If it's coming head to head, one last final kick's gonna make it happen. One thing to be aware of, because it is uphill after the sprint, breakaways can happen here. And at these moments, the climbs are done, the sprints are done. These are the moments from here to the finish line that a breakaway could establish, and it would be worth it. Let's take a look at the way that this tactic's been employed throughout Zwift racing history. I was actually involved in this race. Tour de Oz, stage 3, everything bagel, kept on whittling down, and being in the moment and watching it happen from my perspective, I can see exactly how this has played out so many times in history. You're waiting for that final sprint, you're thinking it's just gonna set up, you're wondering if you should go on the attack, and I saw Trekkie, Brendan Johnson, as well as Zach Neer from Next Esports, attack through this section, get a little bit of a gap. I tried going across, failed to do so, and from my perspective, the two of them just worked really well together to establish a gap and no one else could close it. The just reality was, through that final section of course, those two got enough of a gap and were able to work together enough that our whittled down pack just did not have enough firepower or the want to just work for somebody else for them to get the win. Perfect setup for the two of them. Zach Neer ended up sitting on Trekkie a little bit and coming over the top and taking the win. There's a race of attrition out there. Make sure you make the peloton, make the race hard, and start throwing those attacks late in the race. That's it for race knowledge for the Apple Lap. Race number 2 in the Zwift Classics 2021. To check out all the coverage that we will be having on Zwift Community Live, head on over to our Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitch channels to see what we are streaming for the Zwift Classics. We'll see you out there.
Now, I don't know about you, but I tend to focus too much on one aspect of cycling. For me, it's always been the Zwift races. I love them. But for you, it could be endurance, could be sprinting, could be anything at all. But lucky for all of us, expert coach Shayne Gaffney has created a series of workouts designed to improve your all-round cycling ability, all wrapped up in around 30 minutes of effort. So let's see what the latest workout of the week is.
This week's workout of the week is Lactate Shuttle Short. Lactate gets a bad rap, but it's actually a crucial component to endurance sport performance. This workout serves to improve your ability to shuttle lactate into nearby fibers, where it can be transported across the outer mitochondrial membrane and metabolized as another source of energy for your muscles. We'll do this by starting with a hard effort to build lactate in your legs and move on to an over-under effort to maintain it. So, get ready to embrace the burn in those legs.
And so endeth another brilliant episode of the World of Zwift, even if I do say so myself. We'll be back next week with more racing and training tips, but in the meantime, let me know how you got on with this week's workout of the week. And until then, ride on.